Hi, my name is Christy Tabers, and I am one of the scoring instructors for this course. This week, I wanted to give you a brief overview of how to conduct effective library database searches before you complete your annotated bibliography assignment. So first, what I want to do is go over the research process. So when you start the research process, you typically have a topic in mind. So for my example today, I'm going to use the following topic. Does teacher professional development improve students' academic performance? So with this question, I really need to think about what is my informational need? What do I need to accomplish answering this research question or addressing this topic? Do I need to know background information on teacher professional development? Most likely. Do I need an opinion? Probably not a strictly opinion piece at this point, but if I go further into my research, I may need that. Do I need research? Yes, I really need to know what's going on in the field right now, what researchers are saying about this topic. So now that I have identified my information need, I need to select a resource type to use. So I need to ask myself, where can I find background information on this topic? Would an encyclopedia maybe have this information? Perhaps. Would I need to look at journal articles? Yes, I need to look at journal articles for the research. So once I have decided upon my information need and type, then I can start looking at search tools. So do I need to use a library database, or can I use a search engine? While there's no wrong answer about this, I would encourage you to start off using the library's USearch first. Search engines are not wrong, but you have to do a little bit more work on evaluating the information that you pull from the open web. So it's best to start with the library's resources because they are paid for and they are vetted. And I'll talk a little bit more about evaluating resources in a little bit. So now that I've decided that I'm going to use the library's USearch, I need to think about search strategy. So what search terms may work best for my topic? Are there any synonyms that I can use for the search terms that I come up with? So I'll demo some search terms in a minute, but for now, I want to move on to the final step, which is evaluating research findings. So once I have found a few items from my research, let's just say that I've pulled a few articles, I need to evaluate them. So is my research article relevant? Does it tie into, is it telling me anything about my topic? Is it authoritative? So have others in the field cited it? Does it appear biased? I really need to ask myself these questions before deciding to use them in my paper. So just because I pulled them from the library's databases does not mean that they're appropriate for my topic. So I really have to think critically. I cannot just blindly pull things from the library and expect that they're going to work how I need them to work. So that was just kind of a quick overview of the research process. Now I want to turn to sharing a few search tips that I think will help you out tremendously with this assignment. So let's go back to my topic. Does teacher professional development improve students' academic performance? And let's think about a few key terms or concepts that I can pull from this question, because we do not want to plug the question directly into the database. We really need to break it down into smaller chunks. So maybe we use the terms teacher and professional development and students and academic performance. So I'm not putting my question in, I'm breaking it up into subject terms. And you know, maybe I want to think about other possible terms. So instead of academic achievement or performance, maybe I want to talk about academic achievement. Maybe I want to say student learning. So what I would advise you to do is to explore, to learn, and to write down your search ideas in a research log to keep track of what you've used. So I'm going to show you a quick example of what a research log would look like. So this is one that we use here in my library. So you have a place to put your research topic or question, a place to identify your key concepts. So the first concepts that I came up with, I could put them in there. And then I have an area to brainstorm different synonyms or different words that I can try. And then at the bottom there I have where I can keep track of the type of information that I'm going to need. So that's just an example. Yours does not have to be this fancy, but I did want to give you an idea of what you could do. So I would definitely encourage you to keep track of what you're searching and to try different things. All right, so the next thing I want to advise is to be aware of controlled language. So I'm actually going to pull up a search. Let me go to the libraries page, and I'm going to show you what I mean by controlled vocabulary. All right, so my search terms are already in here because I've practiced this search before. And before I click search, I want to point out that you do not want to select anything over here, and you do not want to change anything over here. So I just want to click search. All right, so one thing I want to point out right quick is that this number here in my search results is really way too high. My goal is to get that narrowed down. I'm not going to worry about it right now because I'm talking about controlled vocabulary, but some of the things I can do is I could play with the search terms up here, or I can use some of the tools over here to narrow down my search. But for now, I want to pull up an article. So let's just say I want to use this article, and I really like it, and I want to use it, and I want to find more articles like that. So what I can do is I open up the article, and this is all of the detailed information. I need to come down here and look at search terms and author supplied keywords. And why this is important is because databases do not understand language the same way that we do as humans. So they can only understand language that has already been put into they're a machine. So they only understand language that has been input into their setup. So they may not understand my language, but they understand the language that has been given to them before. So I want to look over here to see what other information or terms have been put into this database that may help me find other articles that are either related to this topic or they're similar to this study. So maybe instead of professional development, I want to use teacher development. So I could go in and plug that in. Or maybe I want to use teacher learning. So this just gives me more ideas to play with. So it's a really good practice to go in and look and see what the database already understands as language. All right. And really the most practical example I can give you is think about hashtags on social media. So if you search a hashtag but you don't put it in correctly, then you're not going to find what you're looking for on a social media site. This is exactly how controlled language works with databases. So now I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. And again, I just want to stress the importance of experimenting with searches for better results. So don't just give up after one search. Try different keywords and you may find more relevant or reliable resources. I also advise you not to just stick with the USearch. I think what is a best practice is maybe starting with USearch and then going and looking at specific databases related to your topic. So in this case, we would look at education-specific databases. And that just helps you broaden your search because USearch is not a database. It is a tool. So it is talking to several databases at once, but it may not be talking to all of the databases that the library subscribes to. So you're really limiting yourself if you only rely on USearch. So definitely break out of USearch and look at the databases A to Z list and find ones that you can search. And then lastly, use Boolean operators, aka connectors. So this means to combine your keywords with connecting words such as or and. And I will say that I use and every single search that I perform in a database. So I'm going to go back to my search again just to show you this. So you see here where I said and. This just helps connect the words that you're looking for. So it's going to search for teachers and professional development. It's not going to search for just teachers and just professional development. It connects them so that the database can understand what you're looking for. And or is really helpful as well because it kind of broadens that search. So if I put professional development or teacher development, then it's going to search for both of those. So they're a really great way to search the database. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to point out while I'm on the library's homepage is, remember how I said do not select these over here? Never select peer reviewed. I know it's tempting to do so, but since USearch is not a database, it is a tool, it does not talk well with other databases sometimes. So you're really limiting yourself because there may be other peer-reviewed sources out there, but because for whatever reason the databases aren't talking correctly, it's not going to be in your search. So by clicking peer-reviewed, you're really limiting your search. So there's another way to check to see if academic journals are peer-reviewed, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and it is definitely worth the extra step. So what you need to do is go to Databases, and then to the A to Z list, and then click on New, and then go to Ulrichs. And what this does is this actually provides you comprehensive information about an academic journal. So let's just say that I have an article and I already have the journal title here, so Higher Education Review. I'm going to search, and this is going to be just, this is a lifesaver. So when you pull this up, you'll see that there's several different journals with the same title, so you always want to double check your ISSN, which that's available on your journal article that you pull. You just have to look for it, so I would advise looking for that and double checking. But then if you come over to the left-hand side here, so this is definitely the journal that I'm looking for. If you see this little referee jersey, that means that the journal is peer-reviewed. So any articles that you pull from that specific journal are going to be peer-reviewed. So this is just a really great way and simple way to check that your articles are peer-reviewed, and you're not relying on the database to tell that to you because you can't always trust them. So always take this extra step, look at the journal and see if it's peer-reviewed. And I promise you, this is just going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to ensure that you have the accurate information. So if you take away anything from this video, take this away with you because it is very, very important. And you don't want to limit yourself. So this is a way to not limit yourself. So let me go back to my PowerPoint right quick. I mean, that was really just some simple ways to improve your database searching. I hope that this video has been helpful. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. I'm a full-time librarian, so I help students with searching databases and locating resources every day, and I love it. It is something that I'm passionate about. I love to help. So please, if you have any questions, please contact me. And I hope everyone has a great week. Thank you.